This should actually be a short video looking at the third method to solve a quadratic equation. That's an equation that's got things like x squared in it, but nothing bigger than squared. So we've looked at doing them by a graph. We've looked at factorising them by putting them into two brackets. We're now going to use the quadratic formula or the quadratic equation. And the hardest thing about that is remembering it. You just keep saying it over and over again to remember it. So minus b plus or minus, might be a new sign for some of you, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If you can remember that, you can solve any quadratic. So a, b and c, they're the things you know to know. What is a, what is b, what is c? Now in a quadratic equation, we've got three what we call coefficients. The one that goes with the x squared, the one that goes with the x, and the number that's just a number. Make sure they're in order. X squared, x, and the number, then it's just a, b, c. So for this one, there is an invisible 1 there, remember? So a is 1. B is 4, because you've got a 4 there, and c is minus 5. Minus 5, remember to include the sign that's in front of it. This is plus 4. I haven't written plus 4 because I just sort of forget that. But you do need to remember, if that was a minus, you need to remember it was a minus 4. Now we've got a, b and c. We just put them into the equation. So b was 4, so it goes there and there. A is 1, so it goes there and there. And c is minus 5, so it goes here. Then it's just working the numbers out. Minus 4 just stays where it is. In here, 4 squared goes to 16. Minus, work at the bracket. 4 times 1 is 4, times by minus 5 is minus 20. Key thing to remember will be you've got two minuses here. You've got the minus from there, and the minus that came from that minus 5. 16 minus minus 20. Remember that when you take away a negative number, just like adding it on. So that's why I get 36 in this line here. So I've got 4 plus or minus 36 divided by that 2 on the bottom, because that was 2 times a, and a was 1. So I will do minus 4 plus or minus 6, because the square root of 36 is 6. So I get two different answers. Remember, for quadratic, you get two answers. You get one answer by doing the plus, you get a second answer by doing the minus. So minus 4 minus 6 is minus 10, divided by 2 gives me the minus 5. And then minus 4 plus 6 is going to give me 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So my two answers are minus 5 and plus 1. If you had factorised that equation, you'd have ended up with x minus 1 and x plus 5. Because remember, when I get these, it's the opposite sign. If you look at that factorising, this one here, minus 1 times 5 gives me the minus 5. That's where the number comes from. And then my x values, I've got minus 1 from this, and then I've got plus 5 from this. So plus 5, take away that 1, does give me 4x. Okay, when I do this equation, the answers I get at the end are the answers, the roots, when y equals 0. When you factorise, it's the opposite. So again, that's why you might think using the equation, the quadratic formula, is actually more straightforward. We've got various questions here, and it's just going to be a case of looking at these and putting the numbers in. So in this one, the value of a is 1. In this one, the value of b is 9, and c is minus 25. So you just put those numbers into the formula, minus b plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I'm going to do two examples once I've done the question at the bottom, and I'll do G because it's got one where A is not 1, and I'll start with D as well. So I'll do those two for you in a minute on the camera, but I just want to talk about this sort of question. Explain why x squared plus 4x plus 20 does not have a solution. Now, if I think about a quadratic graph, when y equals 0, that's when it goes through this line here. That's when its value is y is equal to 0. There are some quadratic graphs that go like that and never go through here. So that's what we say is they don't have a solution. There's never a time when y is equal to 0. And this will be the equation, sort of graph that would exist up there, never go through this. So one explanation is that the graph doesn't go through the x-axis, so y is equal to 0. But you can also put this into the equation, and when you put it into the equation, you end up with 16 take away 80 inside that square root. Well, that will give me the square root of minus 64. You cannot square root a negative number. Not until you do A-level maths, start looking at what they call imaginary numbers. Oh, great bit of maths. But for GCSE, you can't solve that. And that's because it has these, what we call imaginary roots. They don't exist. We have to imagine them. That sort of question you might get at the very end of an exam. Explain why they don't have a solution. Well, one reason is that the quadratic graph doesn't go through the x-axis, and also when I put it into this quadratic formula, I get a square root that I can't solve. That's enough of the loom part of this. I'll actually now go our way and do D and G for you on paper.
Going remarkably well at the moment. I've not said so that many times, and it's going quite quick, so hopefully just two examples as I said, and you'll be okay to do these. Here's the one that I was going to do first of all, x squared minus 7x plus 3. So think about what a, b and c are. A is 1, remember that invisible 1 there is 1x squared. B is minus 7, remember the sign, that's the minus 7. And C is plus 3. So you might want to write those down. A is 1, B is minus 7, and C is plus 3. And then put them into the formula. So minus B, minus 7. Because that's what B is, and I need the minus B. Plus or minus the square root of B squared, minus 7 squared. Minus 4ac, so it's minus 4 times a was 1 times c was 3. You might decide that you actually want to write the formula out to help you remember it. Minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. But after a while you'll get used to it, but I would suggest to start with just keep referring back to that. Anyway, we've got all that top line, so it was all over 2a. Remembering that, so that's 2 times 1, because a was 1. So the next line down, we're going to have minus 7, so that's plus 7, plus or minus the square root. So minus 7 squared is 49, minus times a minus is a plus. And I've got minus 4 times 1 times 3, so it's minus 12. All over 2a, so it's all over 2. So I've got 7 plus or minus the square root of 37 divided by 2. If you get one like this, it's going to be on the calculator paper, because obviously you can't square root this. It's going to be 7 plus or minus, excuse me, I just had to go and get my daughter's trusty pink calculator. That came out to be 6.08278. I'm going to do it to 2 decimal places, so 6.08, all divided by 2. So first of all I'm going to have to do 7 plus that. So 7 plus that will give me 13.08 divided by 2. Then I'm going to use 7 take away that, and that will give me 0.92 all divided by 2. Excuse me. So my two answers are going to be 6.54 and 0.46. Did those in my head. Pretty sure that's right. 2 times 46 is 92, yes. So just lots of working out and substitution really. I'll now do the other one where you had A not being 1. Here we are, this time A is 3, not 1. So minus B, minus 3, because B is 3, plus or minus the square root of B squared, 3 squared, minus 4 times A, which is 3 this time from there, times C, so I get a minus 2. Look out for the double minus there. All over 2A. And this time, it's not going to be 2 on the bottom, because I'm doing 2 times 3. So it's actually going to be 6 on the bottom. So next line, minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 minus 4 times 3 is 12, times by 2 is 24. Got a minus there, so it's minus 24. All divided by 6. So that's minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 minus minus, so that's plus 24. So that's going to be square root of 33, all divided by 6. I'll stop for the trusty calculator. Square root of 33. That's no good, always does that, very irritating. Press the SD button and you actually get a decimal which is useful. So 5.7445, so 3 decimal places this time. No, 2 decimal places should be enough. The question paper should say what it wants, but we'll go 2 decimal places, that's 5.74. So we've got minus 3 plus or minus 5.74 all divided by 6. I cannot do those in my head quick enough, but you'd end up doing minus 3 plus 5.74 divided by 6, give you one answer, and the other answer will come from minus 3 minus 5.74 divided by 6 to give you the second answer. So I worked them out a calculator, there they are, minus 1.456 and plus 0.456. So again, that probably tells you why you couldn't factorise them, because you never worked those out as 2 factors of numbers. And that's really what the use of this equation is. Next one I'll be doing is completing the square. I'll see you in a day or two for that one. Bye bye.